obviously I understand Senator Bushby's already raised it. Could you just confirm that that project begins on the 1st of July and has 2.7 million allocated over 3 years?
That's correct.
That's correct. I understand the agency will work with major project proponents who intend to invest a minimum aggregated total of $50 million in new gross fixed capital. That's from the government's website. Has there been a list of projects already brought forward for the agency to work on? Or does establishment mean it won't actually be set up for 3 years?
Thank you, Senator. We haven't yet established ourselves to look at those projects, but when we were designing the $50 million benchmark, we did look at the range of projects that covered in Tasmania.
You didn't?
We did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So to get looking back historically to sort of see the types of projects that were covered off.
And that's your expectations of the types of projects going forward that it would look at?
It's a mixture of mining and manufacturing and potentially even major tourism projects.
So in terms of the major tourism projects, there was an article in the paper, The Examiner, this morning that said first cab off the rank would be looking at developments in national parks. So would that sound right to you? $50 million proposals in Tasmania's World Heritage Areas and national parks?
It's a bit.
That's what that was from. I'm just saying that's what the article was reporting.
If you're going to quote from articles,
I'll quote directly from the article.
No. If you're going to do that, you probably need to table a copy.
Oh,
of the
okay.
article.
Certainly, I'm happy to table that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the office of it's the Tasmanian government, the Office of Coordinator General, that would look at that.
So the Tasmanian state government.
So the way the approval agency is going to work is that we're going to work with the Tasmanian Coordinator General's office, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to see all of the approval processes that you need to get a major project up. And we will be looking at what are the Commonwealth approvals that need to be met, and to make sure that they're not holding projects up, and then working with the Tasmanians to make sure that the Tasmanian ones are being looked at. And in that particular case, they seem to be the Tasmanian approvals.
So my understanding was this would be for the whole country, but based in Launceston, but it's just going to be for Tasmanian projects.
It's just for Tasmania.
So is there a reason why Tasmania needs a special streamlined process for developments of major projects?
Well, all I can say, Senator, is it was a government commitment, election commitment, and
Sorry, Senator,
I won't ask you about the politics around it, but I would like to ask your professional opinion on why this would be needed in a place like Tasmania.
So it was part of a broader suite of measures in terms of the Coalition's commitment to Tassie. So this was just one element of the the program.
I appreciate that. I'm just interested in how it's going to function, and why it's necessary to have a separate process in Tasmania that's different to other states.
The policy itself has merits, and if it's successful, perhaps it could be replicated elsewhere. But in terms of getting approvals processed at both the local government, state and Commonwealth level, I think it will be a good mechanism to work closely, co-location being one of them, and with the key portfolios, both in the Commonwealth and state, to make sure we can ensure projects and approvals processes are streamlined and hastened as much as possible. Okay,
but there's no precedence for this.
So, can I just confirm that you said that you are genuinely wondering why we had an economic plan for Tasmania versus the rest of Australia?
Around planning particularly.
Oh, okay.
This is a major projects planning agency. And I genuinely did think it was for the whole country, but based in Launceston. So I'm just interested in why Tasmania has been singled out for having its own planning agency for major projects, being $50 million and larger.
we do run at the Commonwealth level a system which we call the Major Projects Accreditation. So for a major project is, usually it's a foreign investment, is coming into the country, they seek this major project status, and that gets a degree of support from the government to try to make sure that that project doesn't get held up in particular reasons. It can also lead to certain consideration of certain benefits in terms of what we call bylaw entry of equipment and so forth that they may want to bring in.
But just so I get this clear though, within the existing processes that we currently have for major projects, it will still comply with all existing federal laws?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So if that's the case, why would there be efficiencies or synergies of having this in Tasmania? Are you going to be, for example, relocating staff from other agencies and basing them in Launceston? Is that something that's being proposed?
We actually are going to move some of our staff down to Launceston.
Okay. Can you give me an idea of how many staff you'd be considering?
There will only be 3 staff. Four staff.
Four staff, yeah. And has the project proceeded to the stage where you've selected a location? And is that part of the is that the 2.7 million allocated? Is that for renovations, rentals, or is that going to be a separate cost?
Anne Bray, General Manager of the Food and Chemicals Branch in the Industry Division. The money is allocated to a range of things, mainly staffing and property costs in terms of rental of suites down in Launceston.
Yeah.
Some travel-related costs in terms of getting to major projects, and also a very small amount for an advisory board.
For an advisory board, okay.